Great question, because all my novels have sometimes very short chapters. That's because I work paragraph by paragraph. And I don't believe in progression in the ordinary sense. So every paragraph for me is a fresh beginning and must have its own integrity. Sometimes the paragraph has so much self-contained integrity that it becomes a chapter. You know, I will tell you. Let me expand on this a little bit. The protagonist of this book, a writer called Amit Chaudhuri, at a certain point of time is being interviewed, not in exactly this situation, but by a journalist. Again about his writing, and he in his answer he's trying to make distinctions between the novel, what is a novel, what is a short story, what is poetry. And one of the things that I agree with as far as me and Amit Chaudhuri in this novel are concerned, that we both agree on this, is the importance of the paragraph. And I'll first mention its importance to me as a reader, and then I'll talk about its importance to me as a writer. As a reader, I was drawn to poetry as a genre rather than fiction. So what in Sanskrit or in Indian languages might be called itihasa, a particular kind of narrative, never interested me as much as kavya. Which I always saw as an interruption. Instead of a progression, I saw it always as an interruption. And an interruption whose workings were mysterious, as you said. You know, we don't know why we are involved in this interrupted moment. And why we also keep going back to it, which is what happens with poetry. That we keep returning. We don't return again and again to novels, but to poetry, we do return almost immediately. Often after reading a poem, we reread it. It's an experience peculiar to the poem and to that interrupted duration. Why do we want to return to this interrupted duration, in which the progression of itihasa has not really taken place? You know, so I was always interested in that as a reader, interested in the poetic genre, and the only way that novels began to finally appeal to me, which happened in my early 20s, because until then I saw them with a degree of not only skepticism but revulsion, but then was forced to read them, especially because I was going to take exams, etc. So the only way they first began to appeal to me was, let's say, I would notice that a critic had quoted a paragraph from a writer, and the paragraph would strike me as being an extraordinary paragraph. So I have in my head two such examples. The first is a paragraph from A House for Mr. Biswas by V.S. Naipaul. So I had not read Naipaul, dipped into an area of darkness. Naipaul was known less as a novelist in India than as an India baiter, you know, when I was growing up. That was his reputation. So just getting used to the idea of a novelist was it took some time. But then coming across this critical essay, and there was this paragraph where Mr. Biswas has just become a sign painter. So he passes through various professions. So he's a bus conductor, he's a sign painter, he wants to be a writer. At this point of time, he's a sign painter and he's learning painting letters. And the narrator talks about how, it talks about Biswas's relationship to the letters of the English language and his favorite letters, the letters he likes painting most. And S and R are the two favorite letters of Biswas. And the narrator stops a while thinking on behalf of Biswas about what it is about the motion and shape of S and R that seem to be so excellent that they seem to be competing with each other for first place in his affections.